You all know me. You know how I earn a living. I can give you everything you need for a screen-accurate Quint costume, but it ain't gonna be easy. It ain't like going down to the Party City and buying a costume in a bag. This cosplay, swallow you whole. It ain't gonna be pleasant. So, you gotta make up your minds. You wanna ante up and look good? Or do you wanna play it cheap? End up like this guy. 13-minute YouTube video. For that, you get the hat, the coat, the whole damn thing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Quint.
Mr. Mayor, Chief, ladies and gentlemen.
Farewell and adieu to you Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, dear ladies of Spain. For we received orders with the sailboat.
Greetings, gang! Welcome to this cosplay breakdown. In case it wasn't abundantly clear from the intro sketch and the rudimentary chalk drawing of a shark eating a stick figure man behind me here, today we're talking about Quint. We're going to break down my Captain Quint cosplay. What do you need? Where do you get it? How much is it going to cost me? What do I do with it once it arrives? We're going to talk about all of it. But right now I'm going to take a sip of coffee from my Quint's Amity Island Boat Tours mug. Got to do the iced coffee today because it's 115 degrees outside. Well, I showed my kids Jaws a couple months back for the first time. They loved it. I love it. Always have. Robert Shaw's performance as Captain Quint in that movie is one of the all-time great cinematic performances as far as I'm concerned. As I'm inclined to do, became progressively more obsessed with the character and the ensemble and decided I'd put together my own Captain Quint cosplay. So let's dive right in. Captain Quint's hat. Quint's hat is a waxed canvas 5-panel ball cap. It's got a sharp crease in the bill right down the middle. It's got 2 rows of stitching along the bill. It's got two straight panels going all the way across, and then these 2 half-moon panels on the side. So there's 4 panels and then a 5th panel in the front with 2 pockets on either side of that middle seam. The hat he wore in the movie was actually a hat made by the Quint Shrink Hat Company. Quint, K-A-I-N-T, kind of a redneck spelling of can't. Quint Shrink Hat Company. And somebody just purchased it, so it's more likely something that somebody found in like a hat shop or a bait shop or something like that and bought it, as opposed to something designed by the costume designer on the movie. Alright, so I purchased my Quint hat from a company called Stockbridge Sewing Works. They have an online shop on Etsy, and they also have a website. Stockbridge Sewing Works makes historical ball caps, and for whatever reason they ended up making a Quint model. It comes in waxed cotton canvas, just like the one in the movie. It's available either in an adjustable band or a fitted version. I recommend getting the fitted version. You can order it in your hat size. I'm 6 7/8. I ordered a 6 7/8 hat, and fits me perfectly. The available colors are brown, tan, olive drab, red, or black. The one in the film is brown, so I ordered brown. And that's pretty close to Quint's hat. I believe you can also order the bill to be either reinforced or just a soft bill. I just ordered a soft bill. At first I was kind of regretting doing that because I was having a hard time getting that crease, that Captain Quint crease. But then I realized there's a trick you can do. If you get some heavy books and if you fold the cap in half lengthwise and put some heavy books on top of the hat and let it sit for an hour or 2, take the books off, and I swear to you it creases perfectly. So that's what I did earlier today, and I got quite a quick crease on it, and I think it looks pretty good. Anyway, that's the hat. Let's move on to the next piece of gear, shall we? The shirt. I'm going to take off my jacket so we can showcase this shirt. Alright, so Quint's shirt is a blue chambray work shirt. It has been frequently misidentified as a naval issue blue chambray shirt. It is not a naval issue shirt. The shirt is actually a Levi's orange tab, a blue chambray work shirt with the orange Levi's tab removed. You can identify it because of the specific pocket shape. It has like that scalloped pocket where it kind of goes up and back down, and also the orange stitching along the buttonholes, as is indicative of Levi's vintage items from that era. Now, is this a Levi's orange tab work shirt? Fuck no. Here's why. I went online and looked at the price of those things. They go for like $125 to $190. I'm sorry, yeah, no, I'm not paying that much for a shirt. You know, I don't know. I don't know where my line is, but I know that it's not spending $125 on a shirt. So what I did was I went on Rusty Zipper, and I got really lucky. I found in my size, and it fits me like a glove, this blue chambray work shirt from probably the early 80s. The pocket shape is not quite right. But it does have that really exaggerated collar as the style of that time, 70s, 80s. It's the right color, it's got the dark blue buttons. It was $16, close enough. Anyway, yeah, that's the shirt, not much to it. He wears an undershirt in some of the scenes. Sometimes he's just wearing the shirt with no undershirt under it. But if you want to do the undershirt is quite literally just a off-white waffle weave, long john style, long sleeve shirt. I've had this particular undershirt for about 20 years. Cosplay bonus. When I cosplay RJ McReady from The Thing, he wears a waffle weave off-white shirt underneath his gray t-shirt and underneath his flight suit. So this is the base layer for my RJ McReady costume as well. Always nice when you can play multiple characters with the same gear. All right, moving on to the next item. Topic number 3, the jacket. Quint's jacket is an M1951 military issue field jacket. There's a bit of an anachronism here because Quint served in World War II, and I'm certain that the jacket in the movie is supposed to be his jacket from his time during World War II on the Indianapolis, delivering the bum.
He just delivered the bum, the Hiroshima bum.
But it's a bit of a mistake, I think, because the jacket he wears is an M1951. In World War II, that would have been the M1943 jacket, because the M1943 was this version of the jacket for World War II. This is the one that came after it, and there were some improvements, like the buttons on the collar were something that were added to the M1951. Anyway, he's wearing a Korean-era war jacket. Maybe he served in Korea as well. We don't really know that much about him. We don't even know his first name, so... There are people online that insist that his first name is Bart, Bartholomew Marion Quint. I don't know where that comes from, as his name is never mentioned in either the novel nor the movie, but somebody on some online fan wiki decided his name was Bartholomew Marion Quint. It's not. So Quint's jacket is a very stained, sun-faded, blood-soaked army jacket full of holes. I would imagine Quint's jacket smells of chum, sweat, and Narragansett lager. So I'll just talk about the various rips, holes, mends, stains, and things that are on the jacket. The left breast pocket flap, the left one is missing. It's like been ripped off. And there are 12 mend stitches along the inside vertical line of the pocket. On the other arm, there is a backwards L-shaped mend in the arm there. Quint's sleeves, his sleeves are really short. In fact, this jacket, the way it is on me, the sleeves are too long. I kind of wish that I had bought a small short instead of a small regular. I usually wear regular, like 36 regular. The army jackets fit a little baggy anyway, but the sleeves hang down too far. And I noticed that on Quint's jacket in the movie, if you watch really closely, it actually looks like what they did was removed the cuff and then moved it up about an inch or two so that it's sewn up here. It's like been taken off of the bottom and re-sewn up here. I haven't done that to mine yet, and I'm a little bit scared to. But what I did do was I shortened this part of the sleeve to give more space here, to give that impression that the sleeves are shorter. What I did was I just took some scissors and I cut them here and folded the flap under, and then, I don't know if this makes any sense, I cut it here and folded that flap under and then sewed it across there to make it look like the sleeves are a little bit shorter. I'm not a sewer. I may just cover up that white stitching so that it doesn't show, because it looks really bad the way that I sewed it. The button on the left sleeve cuff, the outer button, is missing, so I took that off. There are two holes. Where the hell are those holes? There are two holes on the jacket, one kind of near the cuff and one a little bit closer to the elbow where that weird little seam is right there. So I got my seam ripper and I popped a couple of holes in there and kind of worked them through. Other than that, it's pretty authentically recreated from the jacket that he wears in the movie. The only thing that I need to do is kind of sun fade the jacket. I don't want to like bleach fade it because I'm scared to run it through that treatment. But I'll probably hang it outside in the sun on a line when I'm not wearing it and just kind of let it be out there and see if I can get a little bit of fading on it. Because quite frankly, I don't know how it comes across on camera, but the jacket it is old and it is stained, but it still has like a sheen and a newness to it. I want it to look a little more weathered. And Quint's jacket, you can see on the back of it, there's a shot in the movie where he's standing with his back to the camera, and the whole back of his jacket has like this rusty red stain. Just looks like he laid it on the floor of his boat in a puddle of chum for 3 days and then put it on. Essentially, that's the jacket. They range in price from pretty cheap to very expensive, just depends on where you buy them. eBay's cheaper than Etsy. It depends on the condition that they're in. Luckily, Quint's is ripped to hell, so you can buy a really shitty, torn up one that's going to have more personality and be more like something that he wore in the movie, and it'll save you money. So I just buy a crappy, messed up one, and it's already distressed. Now, if you don't want to go with the M1951, there's a lot of options on this jacket. There are new ones made by like Rothco and Alpha Industries. But if you want to go vintage, there are Army field jackets that were produced from World War II all the way up through the Vietnam War. So the incarnation after the M1951 is the M1965. So during the Vietnam era, they wore the M1965s. That's the jacket that John Rambo wears in Rambo.
Survive a war. You gotta become war.
The differences there is there's like snaps or a zipper for a hood. So some of them come with a hood. A lot of them are missing the hood, but that's not necessary for Quint. The collar is also a little more rounded. So it's not an accurate Army jacket for Quint, but in a pinch, those are usually cheaper because they're newer and there are more of them. If you wanted to save some money, you could always get an M1965 and save yourself some cash that way if you wanted to. I found a good deal on an M1951, so I bought it. Alright, topic 3A, the name tag. I decided to give the name tag its own section because of the process I went through making it. It's just a standard military name badge. It says Quint in capital black military letters. And one minor detail that I noticed in looking at the screen grabs really closely, there is actually a smudged remnant of a letter before his name. It doesn't just say Quint. All the cosplayers I see just have a badge that says Quint. But if you look really closely at some of the screen grabs of his name badge, a smudge. It's like there used to be a letter there. I think that's just a little detail that the filmmakers put in the movie. I think that's really cool. So I recreated that on my name badge. But I made my name badge using 1-inch wide cotton canvas webbing that I found at the craft store. I cut it to a 6-inch length. Then I folded the edges under and glued them with E600 glue, which is great for fabric. A little bit on each side to create a 5-inch long name badge, which fit perfectly along the top of the right breast pocket. So I mixed up a bunch of acrylic paint of various colors, greens, browns, yellows, whites, and made kind of an olive drab, and I painted the name badge with that. And then I got these military stencils that I found on Amazon. They're 1-inch tall. I just used those, put them over the badge, and put fabric paint, black fabric paint on the stencil, and spelled out Quint. And then I took some black paint and I made that mysterious first initial smudge and kind of smeared it around and made it look like an illegible mess. And then I attached the name badge to the jacket using Velcro. I didn't want to glue or sew it down because once again I'm not a sewer, and I don't know, I didn't really want to use anything as permanent as glue. Although I think that would have looked better, but I used the Velcro because I thought I might want to use the jacket again for some other application. If I ever wanted to take that flap that I took off and sew it back on, I could do that. If I wanted to take these stitches out and kind of put the jacket back together how it's supposed to be and wear it for some other cosplay or some other application. So I got Velcro tabs with adhesive on the back, and I used that to stick the name badge onto my right breast pocket. That's the long and short of the name badge. Item number 4, the belt. Quint's belt is just a basic black leather garrison belt, common to military officers and law enforcement. It's 1.75 inches wide. I think their build is like a 2-inch wide belt. I went on eBay and I looked up Garrison belt, and a whole bunch of belts popped up. I picked a cheap one that was like, I think it was like $12. Quint's belt buckle is sort of a tarnished brass. I need to kind of distress the belt a little bit, so I don't know how to distress metal. I know there's a lot of cosplayers out there, maybe a few of you are watching this video, so if any of the cosplayers see this and know how to quickly tarnish or distress or age metal, I would like to make this gold buckle look like it has a patina. I haven't done that. If anybody knows, drop a comment. Let me know how you're supposed to age and distress metal. Oh, cosplay bonus. Chief Hopper, Stranger Things. I do a cosplay of Hopper also. He wears pretty much the same type of belt. He wears a black leather Garrison belt. I can now use this belt for my Hopper cosplay. Always nice when you can use the same items from one cosplay to the next. Plus, you know, most of the gear that Quint wears and most of the gear that like characters like Hopper or RJ McReady, even Indiana Jones wears, they're just like great everyday items. It's cosplay stuff, but it's also just like my wardrobe. So, topic number 5, trousers. A lot of people believe that they're black Dockers or black work jeans. They are black work jeans, but they're not like Levi's or regular jeans. What they are, Lee brand, Frisco, can't bust 'em work jeans. They're like vintage from like the 1960s, 70s. The front pockets, they're not like regular jean pockets. They have like a weird sort of curve slash, and then the back pockets aren't like external Levi's jeans pockets where it's like a patch pocket on the outside. They're like internal pockets, and it's like a slash pocket with like a snap closure. But the Lee Can't Bust 'Em Frisco work jeans is what they were. Can you find them online? Alright, so yeah, no, I didn't buy those. A good substitute are Ben Davis work pants, and again, these are something that is getting progressively harder to find. They're not super popular in this cut anymore. They're kind of out of style. I really like them, but they're not widely available. So I couldn't, at the time of this cosplay, find any work jeans that had those pockets that looked like that didn't cost $350, and I couldn't get the Ben Davis ones in my size, so I went with Dockers. They were like $16 on eBay. They're not screen accurate, but they work. I mimicked the sun fading by sending them through a bleach treatment. You can search how to fade clothing using bleach, and a whole bunch of videos will come up. And I'm not going to get real specific about the amounts of water versus bleach and the process that you're going to go through. Just find one of those videos, watch it, and use your best judgment, because what I found was when I followed the instructions on those videos, it took way more bleach and way more washings to get these pants faded than the videos said. I think the videos told me like it was like a third of a cup of bleach and like a gallon of water. You mix those together, pour that water in the washing machine with the pants, and wash them, and then they should fade. Well, mine didn't. I don't know if it's because they are polyester cotton blend or if the dye is really color fast, but what I ended up doing was just like washing the pants 3 or 4 times. I started off with like a third of a cup of bleach, and by the last washing I think I was just kind of like eyeballing it. I was just like pouring bleach in the washing machine because it took a lot of washings and a lot of bleach and water for me to get these pants as faded as I ended up getting them. And I'm happy with the level of fading. They look like that kind of blackish, but sort of like faded to like a mottled brown, because a lot of people think that Quint's pants are brown, and they're not. They're black, but they're just faded by the sun. I think I accomplished that, but I can't give you any specific instructions. I did this like 3 months ago, and I don't even quite remember the ratios. You just kind of have to try different things and see what works. And if you screw it up, guess what? Dockers are like 12 bucks. Buy another pair of Dockers. I don't know that I would do this to like the Ben Davis work pants if I had them, but Dockers, yeah, fuck them up. They're cheap. Cosplay update. As of the time of the filming of this video, I did manage to steal away to my laptop and find a pair of Ben Davis work pants in black, in my size, on the Ben Davis website. They look just like the pants Quint wears in the movie, so those should be here in like a few days to a week, but in the meantime, my Dockers are working just fine. Topic number 6, shoes. Quint wears a pair of tan Sperry topsider deck shoes. Taupe cotton shoelaces, typically no socks. Sometimes in some scenes he is wearing socks. He wears brown wool socks. So I looked for Sperry topsiders in tan. I found a lot of them on eBay, but none of them looked quite right. I don't know if they changed the design or what, but I wasn't finding what I was looking for. I was in the thrift store one day. I spotted a pair of boating shoes. They weren't Sperry's. They were a brand called Bass, B-A-S-S. They were white, not tan, and they had some odd leather accents on them on a couple parts of the shoe. But they were in my size, and they had the right stitching pattern. They looked the part. I figured I could take them home, and I could remove the leather accents. So I set about getting my seam ripper, and I removed the leather branding accents from the shoes. I had some coyote tan dye. I just followed the instructions, got a bus tub, filled it with water, filled it with dye, did the whole thing, and I dyed the shoes. After you're done dyeing them, you rinse them out, throw them in the washing machine with an old towel to absorb any dye. They came out looking great. But since then I wear the shoes all the time, so I just started wearing them when I'm out in the garden, and I wear them when I'm washing the car, and I wear them when I'm at work. Eventually they ended up looking nice and stained and like they'd been on a boat. Since then I did find a pair of Sperry topsiders in tan that were pretty close, so I went ahead and bought those too. They were like 15 bucks, but they're not super comfortable. They're a little narrow. I ended up just wearing the Bass ones. They work. Future plans? That's all of the gear. We broke it down. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. Future plans for this cosplay? Besides the basic aging and distressing of the gear, I'm waiting on the Ben Davis work jeans. Can't wait to get those. The big thing is I'm currently looking for, I shaved my beard. I had a beard over the summer and I was doing RJ McReady. And then for a very brief time when I shaved, I left mutton chops and a mustache. And that was when I did my other Quint videos on YouTube. I did a couple of like Quint reenactment videos. I got one called Chuggin' Like Quint. And I've got another one here where I do a little reenactment scene on the boat. And then I did a reenactment of the Indianapolis speech, so if you want to watch that, you can watch that. But I have since shaved my mustache and beard, but I found a theatrical wig and facial hair maker on Etsy that is based in like the Soviet Union, I think. He makes mutton chops and mustaches and lace front beards out of yak hair. And I don't know, so I'm looking at those. There's some mutton chops that he sells that look pretty accurate, and there's actually a mustache that the guy sells that is pretty much exactly the mustache that Quint has in the movie. It looks just like. So I may buy a pair of mutton chops and a mustache. I may do like a makeup tutorial on Quint. Add that to my list of makeup tutorials. If you want to watch my other makeup tutorials, I have one on Indiana Jones that I did in honor of the 40th anniversary, and I will link that right there. I also did a makeup tutorial on my RJ McReady cosplay where I did the RJ McReady frozen, frostbitten look that he has in the movie when he gets locked out in the cold. And so if you want to watch my RJ McReady makeup, I will link that right there. So beyond the chops and the stash, I would love, prop-wise, to build a replica of the greener whaling harpoon gun that he uses in the movie that he attaches to those yellow barrels. The brand was Greener. They don't make them anymore. You can find them online. But obviously, I'm not buying a harpoon gun, but I've been thinking about building a prop version of it, either carve it out of wood, or I have an old like Daisy BB gun that I have back there that I use for my Ash Williams cosplay. I may be able to break the barrel down on that and rig that with a little like harpoon arrow and some rope, and that would be kind of a cool prop to carry around on Halloween or at conventions to have like the harpoon gun. I think that would really sell the look. And the only other thing I'm on the lookout for is a vintage can of Narragansett lager from the 70s. Like he drinks in the movie. I've been trying to find like a 6-pack or a 12-pack of Gansett beer. Yeah, they still make it, but I cannot find it in that yellow label because they don't sell it here in California. I can't find it. So, hey, if anybody knows where I could get a pack of Gansett lager in the yellow label, shoot me a link. Well, that about does her. Wraps her all up. There's only one way to end this video. Excuse me a moment. Tain't Narragansett, but it's a yellow can and it's got an anchor on it. So in honor of Bartholomew, no, in honor of Captain Quint, we're going to end this video with a chug of Anchor Steam Ale. Hey Chief, best drop another chum marker. Cheers. Thanks for watching, everybody. Say goodnight, Bruce. Good night, Bruce.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu to you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston. And so never more shall we see you again.